Hey guys, it's Fishlord here, and welcome back to the second episode of how to make Pokemon thumbnails and layouts. Now, in the last episode, if you didn't check it out, go check it out because you won't be able to progress very far in this episode if you didn't check it out. Since in the last episode, we made this really cool looking Pokemon Leaf Green layout. Or not layout, logo. So go check it out because we're going to be using this logo now to create a Pokemon Leaf Green thumbnail in this episode. So you're going to need to have the logo for the thumbnail, obviously, and you're going to need to have the logo for the layout, which we're going to be doing in the next episode, hopefully. But anyways, what you're going to need for this one is you're going to need to have Photoshop, of course, because I am working in Photoshop, and I will explain some ways how to do it with GIMP, but since I am working with Photoshop, I don't really know how to use GIMP as well, but I might say every now and then you could do this in GIMP in order to make it better, but I don't really know for certain. But anyways, you're going to be needing to make a new document now, so File, New, and now I have a little preset here, but you're going to need to have the width be 1280 right here, and you need to have the height 720. Those are mandatory in order, like those are the, it's optimal resolution by YouTube, that's what they say it is. So it's good to always have that, and then you just want to hit OK, and that will create the document right here. And right away, you're going to want to create a new layer, and I like to always hide the background layer because you're not going to want the background layer there. In fact, I'm actually going to just delete the layer because you don't need it at all. It's never going to be used for us. But now, what I like to do is I'm going to want to make a new gradient for like the background right now of this thumbnail. Now, granted, this is not going to be the gradient I'm going to be using. If you want to use it, that's fine. But say I want to have two gradients right now. I'm going to have this in a really dark green. And I'm just going to use this just so I can see how everything will semi-look throughout the project. I don't really know if that's going to be the actual case. But let's just kind of do something like that. So there we go. That's a very basic gradient. But it's just going to help me along as I go. So now I'm going to need to be adding in now this Pokemon Leaf Green logo. It's going to need to be, it could be, I think, a JPEG or a PNG. It doesn't really matter in Photoshop. But yeah, I would still do PNG since PNG is definite with the what's it called? It's better with the transparency. But now this is really big. You're not going to want the Pokemon logo to be too big because if it's too big, it's going to stand out way too much. I think this is a pretty good size right here, so I'm going to do that. And now since this is a leaf green series, I'm going to be adding in a cartoon tree. Now this is not going to be the cartoon tree that we actually use, and as you can see, that cartoon tree is way too big. We're going to need to make that a lot smaller. This is not going to be the cartoon tree that we're going to be using. We're actually going to be making a cartoon tree that we're going to be using in this series. But I just want to have this here so it can make it a little easier to make our own tree. So let's have it like a size of, how about that big? I kind of like that. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to make another one. And we're going to be just moving that over this way. And I'm just going to rotate it just to, and probably increase the size just to make it look a little different than what it was before. And let's have it kind of overlapping right there. So that is already giving it more depth. I'm going to want the Pokemon logo to be on top of the tree though, because I don't want it to be behind. That would be really, really dumb. And actually, I'm going to make the Pokemon logo a little bit bigger. I think that would be a little more beneficial. Or I'm actually at the same time going to move the tree over a little more and make this one bigger. You're going to be there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be adjusting as you go along. It really just depends on what you really want in the thumbnail and stuff like that. But okay, so now it's looking kind of good. You're having the two trees here. But now you're going to want to have a little section where you show part of your video. So then, say if you encounter a legendary Pokemon, you're going to want your viewers, when they're scrolling down a list, you're going to want them to see that legendary Pokemon. That kind of catches their attention, and then they get drawn into your video. So what you could do is you could simply just get one of these the elliptical marquee tool or the rectangular tool or whatever, and you're just going to want to make a little bit of a circle here. I like to have it behind the tree just because it adds a little more depth to it. And then you're just going to want to go to the gradient layer right here and just click delete. Because that right there will create a little dead zone where that's going to be where you insert the picture of the gameplay that you have. And now what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of a border. So I'm going to go to select, modify, border. And then you're going to want to select the width. I'm going to have the width, say, be 7 pixels. That's a pretty, as you can see right there, that's a pretty good width. And now what you could do is you could add a little gradient to this width as well. So say I want to have the gradient be, I'm going to do the actual gradient in a different layer because I'm not sure if I'm going to be editing the gradient layer that's right here. So I'm going to just quickly do that little gradient layer. There we go. That looks kind of good to me. It's a two contrasting colors right there, and that looks good. So I'm going to get the Mark Q tool again and just click randomly, and there we go. That right there is just the very basics of what this is going to be so far. So now what I'm going to do is now, since I have this tree right here, I'm going to make a new group. I'm going to click this little folder thing right here, and it's going to create a new group. I'm going to name that tree number 1. Just because I'm going to insert all my little pieces for a tree in there. And then I'm going to want to go to the pen tool over here, or I'm going to click P on the keyboard, and that will send me there. And then you're going to want to make sure that you set it to shape. If you don't set it to shape and you have it on path, it's not going to do what you want it to do, and that's going to make it a whole lot harder to do this. And then what you want to do is just, I like to go to the eyedropper tool and just use this color because that's going to be like kind of what the color you want. It might not be, but that's what we're going to be using for now. So now what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to get rid of the Pokemon logo real quick because that's going to be obscuring the tree real quick. I'm going to go to the pen tool and I'm going to click right here. Click and hold. And right there you will see that there are these little now like the ends part. They're called anchors. These anchors are going to be what curves your line using the pen tool. So right here, I'm going to draw real far, and then I'm going to click right here. That's a really big arc right there, as you guys can see. And wait, I actually messed up because I'm supposed to, darn it, no. You're going to have to click right here, and then you're going to want to click and drag out. So now as you can see, since the anchor is all the way over here right now, that makes it go down. No, stop it. You have to be pressing Alt while adjusting the anchors as well. As I change the anchors, it changes the curve of the line. So the anchors are what literally helps to make the line. You need to have the anchors in a certain position in order to make that line. So I'm going to need, if you want to have the line go up a little bit, you're going to need to have the anchors be pointing outwards as well in order to have that happen. And if you click and hold it right now, it is adjusting both right now at the same time. If I only want to adjust one anchor, I can press Alt, and then that allows me to only change to control one anchor at the same time. So that's just a little bit of a useful tool to know. And then if you click Alt, it will, again, you're able to adjust the anchors while holding Alt. So that's just a really helpful tip to know. And then you're just going to keep going ahead, and you're just going to keep doing this over and over again until you make your first little branch area. And I'll be back when I finish doing that because this does take a little decent amount of time. I never said it was going to be quick, but I did say that it was going to be really good quality and it's going to be looking really nice. So I'll be back when this is completely done. You're probably going to see like a little time lapse, and I'll see you then. Bye. Okay, so I'm going to want this to be right there. There we go. And there we go. I have this out like this. And there we go. Swipe it there. There we go. Now up again. There we go. And it's going to be just awkward silence now. And now up there. So now guys, as you can see right now, I just finished doing the leaves of this tree, and if I just get rid of the actual tree layer right now, there you go, and get rid of the other tree as well. That's going to be our branch. As you can see, not a branch, our little bush, like the top part, all the leaves of the tree. And as you can see, that's looking pretty good compared to the actual image. That's looking pretty spot on. And then we're going to be needing to do the other little trunk area. And now one thing I will say is that this other tree right here was just there to try and get a basis of what we want it to look like, but we don't actually need to have it right there. So we're not going to be tracing over that image as well. We're only really going to be tracing over this one tree right here. Wait, this one right here, and then we're going to just be copying the overall thing and just flipping it around and adjusting that way. So don't simply just trace over that one as well. That will take a lot longer, and you don't need to do that. So I'll be back when I finish now the rest of the trunk. Alright, so now I'm going to need to go in here. There we go. Alright, there we go. There we go. Okay guys, so I'm back now. As you guys can see right now, this is going to look a little kind of odd because right now, if I look at the actual tree image, wait, and just hide this, the actual trunk is going underneath the leaves, and right now, in case you guys can't see, the trunk is kind of sticking out a little bit, and it looks a little bit odd because that's not really how it was in the actual image. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to have this shape be below the leaves, and then it looks like it's actually going into the tree. So that's going to be really necessary to do, and right now I'm just going to be selecting both. I'm going to be hitting Control on both these things, and then I'm going to be hitting Control J. And that basically just creates a whole new copy of them, and then I'm going to be hitting Control E. That basically, never mind, that does not work. So basically now I'm just going to be rasterizing both layers, and now you can hit Control E. Sorry about that, I forgot to do that layer. That's a pretty important little thing that I just forgot, but now you're going to do this, and you're going to hit Control J as well. So now Control J just makes another copy of it, and now look, we have another tree right here. So as mentioned before, we wanted to have the tree be over here. Let's do something like this, and then you want to hit flip horizontally. That will just simply add a different it'll make it look a little like two different trees, even though it might be the exact same tree. And you don't want the tree to be too much like on too much of an angle, just because of the fact that it would look very unnatural then. But if you have it at a slight angle, you know, it looks pretty good then. So I'm going to have it something like, say, this. And now again, this tree is going to be looking very bland because it's two solid colors on top of each other. And there's not really much there. So what you're going to want to do is then you're going to want to go to this. I'm going to just hide everything else on here so far. So I'm going to like even just hide this one right here. I probably shouldn't have copied it, but I'm going to be doing that later. So then I'm going to just, no, sorry, I'm on the wrong layer. Then I'm going to go and click the magic tool wand over here, and then I'm going to just select the green area right here. And make sure that your tolerance is, do I have anything else on? No. Make sure that your tolerance is on like a decent thing. I'm going to have mine on 50 right now because it's not working on that thing right there. That's a little bit, that's weird. That is really weird. Wait, I have no clue. Wait, what? I'll be back when I figure this thing out. Sorry. What? Alright, I have no clue what was going on, guys. I'm sorry. For some reason, the computer was just being like, no, I don't want to work right now. But I just clicked on it again, and it worked fine. So now what you're going to want to do is, since you kind of want to have more of a darkish color right now in some of the areas, just to make it look like it's an actual tree, let's have it say something like this, where it's just a slight bit darker. And then you can go to gradient if you really want to, and you're going to want to go to this one. And since I have it selected now, if I try to like make something outside of it, like say I want to make it on the trunk right here, I won't be able to actually do anything because it's not in the selected area. So if I want to change something like this, I can kind of just do this, and all of a sudden, oh look, it's changing the overall thing. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this in a different layer. You're going to want to do a lot of things in completely different layers, because it does add a little, you can change the layer properties and stuff like that, and it makes it look a lot better than what it is. It might not turn out very well, good at all. I'm just kind of making this up on the spot, because I just went and said at night, I'm like, hey, you know, this would be kind of cool for one of the layouts, so I'll kind of do this. I think so far it's going to be looking really interesting. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to go up to, again, the blend mode for the layer, and you're just going to keep going through the options, trying to figure out if one of them looks semi-good. Like this one, that looks kind of interesting, kind of adds a little bit of a glow to it. And I think I'm going to go for that one, actually. Like, all the different properties, they add different aspects to it. And I'm going to go for this one, I think. This one, because it's a little more subdued. And when I add it onto this one, it makes it pop out a little bit more. And it's not just as bland as what it was before. So it just helps to kind of bring your attention into it more. And that's what we're trying to do at this point right now. So there we go. I'm going to want to create another layer now, and I'm going to want to select the bark now of the tree, because, you know, the bark's not anything special right now. It's just bark. It's like, okay, well, you know, I have a little brother, and he could just make the bark look like that. It's not that impressive. So you're going to want to have now two different shades of it. And again, you're going to go to your magic wand tool, and if you're in the actual layer fish, then you're going to select this part right here, and there you go. Now you're going to click the gradient tool, and if you just go across like this, there we go. I'm not even using the different thing. I'm just using the, what's it called? The radial gradient part right now, and it's just making a little bit of a dark side to this tree. So then it just adds more of a realistic look to it, because it makes it have more of a gradient as if it's in the light. So now if I just get rid of the selected area, and I have a look at it in the actual image, so there we go, and there we go. That makes it look a little bit more realistic and like it's actually real. And then if you really want to, I wonder, if you go to stroke now, you add a very thin stroke, like a stroke of 1. That just kind of outlines it a little bit more if you really want to. And I don't know, that looks kind of cool. So I'm going to delete the tree I had before. There we go. And I think I made the mistake of, yes I did. Oh well, I put the actual, wait, I'm going to undo what I did before. I'm going to keep the tree here right now, and I'm going to show the tree, because I added the little brown part onto the tree, which I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to do that on a new layer, and then adjust it, but I never actually got around to doing that. I forgot to do that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be having this little layer over here with all the dots. I'm going to replicate that image again as I did before. But this time, I'm going to move it over here, and then I'm going to flip it horizontally, and there we go. Now it's on the tree as we wanted it over here, and it fits perfect, just because that's how we wanted it to be in the first place. If you really want to, like, kind of save the things, you could name the files as well. Like right now, if I wanted to do, wait, you just have to double-click on the actual name of it, and it comes up, and then you can change it to say if I wanted to have leaves number 2, because it makes it look like it's an actual, like, leaves, if there's leaves on the tree. So now, if you really want to, it's this layer and this layer. If I really want to now, I can select both of these layers and hit Control E, and that will just simply, it will make, wait, but what I like to do is I'm going to get rid of the effects right now and then do that. just because I don't want to have the effects still there. Because now if I wanted to go to stroke, it would have made an even bigger stroke, and that's not what I wanted. I want to have a very thin stroke, just to kind of, I'm even going to maybe go up to a 2. I might go to a 2. There we go, because it just makes it stand out a little bit more and make it look a little better. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing for the tree above here. I'm going to hit Control E. It's going to make it go together. Stroke now, and I'm going to make that a stroke of 3. No, that's too big. So now, again, you can go in now if you want to change the stroke. You can, but once you if you combine 2 images, then the stroke stays with the image, and so that's not really productive at all. But now, again, this has the little brown area right here, and this doesn't have that little brown area. So I'm going to need to now use the magic tool wand, just the magic wand, and then go to the gradient again and just kind of make that little area as we did before, just because it adds a little bit more of a realistic feel to it, and we don't really want it to be too realistic, but we want to have it semi-realistic. And so now, right now, it's looking pretty good, and we can now, if we really want to, we could add in our title right around here, like say if we wanted to have our number right here, episode 3, there we go, and there we go. So our thumbnail is looking pretty good, and you're just going to have to insert, I want to change this to say like a greenish look right now. How about like that? And I'm going to add now, go to the FNX and go to blending options. You can bevel and emboss this to make it look a little bit cooler. And then you can go to technique, hard chisel. I like it to be hard chiseled. Drop shadow, you can add the drop shadow and just make it go like that a little bit. Then you can add a gradient overlay, which I really do like, except you're going to need to have the colors that you want in your gradient. So let's have something like that, swap it, and then you're going to want to go to something like this, which is a darker color. Now you need to go back to the gradient, and now you can select it right there. And if you really want to change it up, you can change it up in the options right there. I'm not going to really do that right now because I like it the way it is right now. I'm thinking it's looking pretty cool. There we go. And now I want to have the little episode 3 part, like if I can, I'm going to want to have it right below the trees because I think that's no. I'm going to have it on top of the trees because I think that looks a little better. It makes it pop out a little more. I'm going to have it right there. Then if you really want to, there are different fonts. Like in here I have a Pokemon Solid font that I found off the internet. You can use that, and there we go. Like that. That's looking pretty cool in my opinion. And there we go. We have a layout. All you have to do now is just add a picture of something that's going on. And actually, I'm going to do that right now because I want to show you guys some really cool things you can do with that. So I'm going to just simply, where's a picture that I have somewhere? Let's go to this Pokemon Platinum 3 video, or picture that I have. I'm going to insert this now into this thing right here. There we go. I want to have the Regigigas showing because that's what's going to be catching the attention of everyone else. So now I'm going to scroll that down to the very bottom, like right there. So now that's showing. That's looking really good, actually. I'm really happy with that, how that's looking. But now, if you really want to make that look even better, because for some things like the Pokemon Platinum thing, having the regular greenish look to that, it makes it stand out a little more, and that's not necessarily what we want to do. So what you could do, this is not going to work so well for this one, but you can go to now the channel mixer again and make it look a little more green if you want to. But I'm liking the way it's looking right now because it does blend in very well with the colors that we have selected. And there we go. This is a very basic thumbnail for a Pokemon Leaf Green thing. If we want to get more in depth, we can. And I just want to know if you guys want to have more in depth, because we can add like things in the background that will just make it stand out a little bit more. Because right now all we have is 2 trees in the Pokemon logo, as well as say if we added Leaf Green. If we added that, then there we go. That would make it stand out a little bit more as well. Wait, where'd that go now? Oh, it's at the bottom. Yeah, you want to make sure that it's at the top, because if it's not at the top, then you're not going to be able to see it very well, because that's where everything is. Let's go down to like 70. No, not 700, 70. So it's right there now. I'm going to want to do the same exact thing as I did to the episode 3. I'm going to want to bevel and emboss it, and then I'm going to want to add the stroke to it as well as the gradient overlay. And I think that's going to be looking pretty cool right now. I might want to change the gradient overlay because it doesn't really stand out that much compared to the background. We're going to want to have that standing out because that's what everyone's going to be looking at and being like, oh, dude, this thing looks sick. I'm going to go want to check it out now. And there we go. I'm going to add that little bit of a drop shadow. I need to add the drop shadow to the one down here, to the episode 3, because that really does make it look a little more interesting. So I'm going to add the drop shadow right there. And I need to add it also to the logo. You can add the drop shadow and the stroke and things like that to actual images. So that's really helpful to know for future things, because now I can add this. I can add a little bit of a stroke to the Pokemon outline. I can even like bevel emboss it, but in this case the bevel embossing doesn't make it look that good. My opinion, it makes it look a little bit weird. So I'm not going to really do that. You can even like put a gradient over it, but that's going to look really weird, so I don't like doing that. And there we go. So that's just a really basic. Like it's pretty basic. I mean, even though it looks pretty good right now, like it's a pretty good looking thumbnail, but it's also a very basic thumbnail. So if you want me to go into a more depth on how to make an actual like really good thumbnail, please do hit the like button down below and comment saying I want to see more of this and I want to see how to make a very detailed thumbnail, because I want, to get more views. I want to do whatever. And I hope that this video has been really helpful to you, and I will see you all in the next episode. Have a great day. Bye.